Let's go.
No.
What is up, gamers?
Yo.
Can we get some smoke here?
Where do you want to go? You want to hit a bridge to A?
Did you hear that? Let's move. Come on.
There's a bridge?
Yeah. Follow me, gamers. Dead point.
Interesting. There's like two here.
One upper. Two from CT. Behind you, Zaire. Nice. Yeah, they weren't fast enough. They didn't catch the timings on that one. Unfortunate. We go B now.
Don't think so.
Let's head up this way.
Let's go.
I love bees. Pick up my AK when I die here.
No, mate.
Okay, con. Up here.
Fire in the hole.
He has a shotgun, don't push him, it's scary.
He fell back, Yeah. Nice jump. You do not know the layout of this map, apparently. But I took the time to examine it because I am so good at this video game. Even though I have no kills. Let's go left side.
Come on, let's go.
The left side can go either way.
Two there.
Flashbang. Grenade. I'm throwing a grenade. Grenade out.
Well, let's take an A.
What's that?
Smoking. I'm going to play.
Alright, I have caught one long. He could go upper. Could be here. Oh, this is like disgusting. Nice catch.
Also there.
Flashbang out.
He said.
Nice. This is where it starts getting hard. I think they saved.
This guy had an M4. Whoops.
M4 on the ground.
There was an M4 and a Mark 7, so at least two of them didn't.
Yeah.
This is where it starts getting hard.
The balls harden.
The ball's hard. One more. Nice!
Bruh, fucking 3 kills, cringe.
Yeah,
That scared the shit out of me. I turned the corner, there was like 5 of them.
Alright, I think that was a full save, so now this is where it starts getting hard. Now we gotta focus up and play.
The balls harden.
The ball is hard. I'm gonna flash over the bridge. Look out. Sorry. One more flash again. My beds are.
Two there.
Flashbang. Throwing a Molotov.
It's all bombs, so I'm gonna go the other way.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get a trade.
Grenade.
I got one. There's still one more there.
I heard heard footsteps
Okay.
on my left.
I mean, I think he called it, I fell back, so we have to go.
Throwing smoke.
Below. Swing him, he's pitching you. Nice.
On backside.
Laying down
He's
some
low.
fire.
20 HP.
Okay.
Molotov out.
Nice aim, my dude.
Deploying smoke shield.
No!
Nice try.
Why would he do that? It's okay.
Why wouldn't
What,
he?
re-peak?
Why wouldn't he spam smoke? It's okay.
Because he had a second person there, probably. There were two people there.
Yeah, but...
Time's up.
Because
Yeah, but why use
people are
brain?
not this retarded to fucking do that.
Fire in the hole. Molotov out.
Oh, come on.
One is behind sidebox on A.
Fire in the hole.
We're gonna rotate with the
Okay.
double ups.
Why is Quan by fucking
He's like up to the
auto?
right.
One more where you just killed that guy.
He has visibility on bomb.
He has an auto.
I think one left, one up here.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
we're in CT.
Nice try.
How the fuck does he have a fucking auto?
I don't know.
I think
he's been only
saved.
buying shotguns, so that's probably why.
Yeah, but I only got like 1 kill with it.
Goomba, can I get a drop, please?
Yep.
Epic.
Anyone else? Yeah, you can jump on.
Thanks.
Nice cocks.
Thanks, bro.
Okay, so they have ops now, which means we need to be smart with utility.
Means we go left.
It means we go left.
Yeah, we're leftists.
Throwing flashbang.
One more. There's the
One
other
more,
drop.
one more.
Oh my god, I got him.
Nice, nice.
Laying
I'm gonna
down
drop.
some fire. Throwing a Molotov.
Box, box.
I'm actually gonna go B, I don't wanna do this.
Sure.
Hibby, hibby. CT.
Grenade. Deploying smoke shield.
Could be up here.
Smoking.
Nice.
Yes.
No, mate.
I think they might both be by me.
One was
One
CT.
bunny on boy.
I totally lied.
Good job.
Fucking box.
You're all down to the right.
How the fuck did I crouch?
I can find a drop. You on the up? I'll take it. Thanks.
No, you take.
I'll keep my eyes on the bomb. Let's move.
Fast A, easy.
Yeah. One more behind box. Lit behind box. Still behind me.
God, man.
Nice.
I fucking hate Ken.
Behind, behind, behind!
I'm just gonna plant.
One was in the left side entrance. CT.
Watching CD. One close bound.
Dead.
One more there.
One close smoke. On site, dead.
Last by me. He's like down. Coming up now.
Nice.
Oh, that was
Yo,
all.
the ace? AVP?
Yeah, he saw
I
my extra
honestly,
frog, that's why.
Sad.
I can buy you orange.
Throwing flashbang.
I'm running.
Molotov out. Grenade out. Throwing a flashbang.
One's pushing T-spawn. Oh no.
That was so bad.
Nice.
We're on B.
I'm playing safe.
One is on A still.
CT? Both CT. Peeking now.
Flashbang out.
One side.
Defusing.
One bomb.
Diffusing one.
I'm defusing 160.
Dead, nice.
I'm throwing a flashbang.
Nice.
Nice.
I can't play on this pink.
I can drop one.
Cheers, big ears.
I'm gonna go lower A and see if
It's
Yeah,
them
yeah.
versus the
I can do something
Nobody's
funny.
peeked that
Say they're
yet, I
making
don't
their
think.
doubts about now.
Got naded.
Oh,
I got. Oh, there's so many on bridge. I got like quad naded.
There's two there.
They rushed bridge 100%.
Let's just go left.
Pushing
Push,
bridge.
one push. Behind. Nice.
Oh god.
What the fuck?
Okay, cool. I got quad naded on bridge, dude.
That was terrifying, dude.
4 grenades, first one incendiary. What will I buy?
I kind of want to go under bridge now.
They might catch you out because I peeked and killed one.
They fucking do
Yeah,
that.
they did cap me. Oh, you backed up on me. How dare you? Bombs down.
I killed one side.
One is watching bridge the angle.
Flashbang.
I'm gonna watch flank. Actually, yeah, we're good.
One bridge
One side.
box.
One under bridge with an up.
We could go B.
No, we can't. We don't have bomb.
True, okay.
Oh, come on.
Flashbang
I'm flashing
out.
yellow.
Laying down some fire. Grenade out.
Dead. One more under bridge.
Close below. Nice job.
Dude, that peak was nasty.
Let's go.
He is gaming.
Society.
Society.
Okay, I'm actually not gonna push that. I'm scared.
Ooh, timing? Quiet. We could have a free B take here. If we're quiet. CT. Got the CT pick. Moving.
Acon.
Where? Excuse me?
Oh, Got him.
Last.
Nice!
Shut up. I'm not having fun with this game, not for.
They're getting kind of unlucky.
May I have buy?
I can drop. Actually, quite a few of us can drop. I'll let the guy with the riches drop.
Let's move. Come on, hurry up.
One on the side. Hey.
There's one B long. I'm just waiting to see if he pushes.
One, they're double stacked there.
I do
Yeah,
not want to peek that
also-
again.
They know we're both here.
That's why I blocked off.
We can take the left route and just go all the way.
Do the long way around.
Yeah.
We just have
It's
to
like
shift
3
walk.
on A slash.
I think there might be one like. Well, there's not a route there anymore.
Yes,
It's
there's
right
an
here, it's right
up near bridge.
Let's go
Nice
that.
shot. Nobra and Sussy with the 23 kills.
One under me. Going towards you.
Goomba, you have bomb.
Might not going towards the side. It was.
Nice.
Nice. Take that, bitch, eh?
Side's clear.
Molotov out. Molotov out. Throwing flashbang. Throwing smoke.
Got finally some kills.
Good job.
Second to last. We're doing pretty well, I would say. Wouldn't
We're
you say so, guys?
underperforming.
Wouldn't
We
you
could
guys?
be doing better.
Quick sticks.
Yeah, we could be 15-0ing them right now.
We lost 2 rounds. We're kind of garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the bomb, I didn't notice.
Bog.
Excuse me? He's minus 80, by the way. What the fuck did I not kill him?
Grenade.
Quite close.
One's B long.
I got bomb.
I'm so
Also,
sorry.
no HP, my guys.
Killed him. Planting. Planting for bridge.
Nice.
I didn't
Max
spend
money.
a single piece of you got quite the bank there, don't you, Goomba? Yo,
Take some orbs. Take some orbs.
take some op ups. Yo, Josh,
Not
you want an
enough
op? You
autos.
want an op, bro? You want an auto?
Yeah, yeah. Throw more of those. Throw more of those.
Hey, Rash, easy.
One on side.
Sounds good.
Nice. Alright, I'm coming.
Cover me while I
Planting.
plant.
Flashing CT.
Throwing a Molotov.
Mauling CT.
Throwing a Molotov.
Flashing CT
Smoking
again.
CT.
We just
Splashing
put
CT.
entire
I
fucking...
got knife.
Oh, nading CT.
Below.
No scoping CT.
Ah, I knifed him once.
I hit him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Let's go. Alright, we have to figure out how to play CT quick.
Just don't play like them.
Rash,
Exactly.
Someone buy an incendiary grenade.
Keeping my eyes on this C4 here.
So we have to be better than them. I guess I'll go B long.
They are all here.
They tried rushing, didn't they? I'm coming.
Lit 60, one of them.
One lower, by the way.
On bridge, one lower. On side.
Both on side. Both on side.
Last site, yeah.
Planting.
Planting. Push you to smoke, easy. Do it, push it, push it.
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
I'm scouting along B.
I'm gonna buy a nade if someone wants to nade a bridge with me.
Remove any doubts in your head. It's us or them.
I'm gonna go like down to the right, then lower, watch lower.
Going out, B long.
I did not realize they could.
And I go.
I'm gonna push.
Nice.
Bombs by me.
Spotted bomb. B long is clear. I'm coming to you guys.
It's minus 50.
Lit 70.
Both them.
I'm really far away.
Both there.
You're
Go to the
covering
left,
A.
blue.
They dropped A.
Both drop.
Throwing fire.
Yeah, one near it.
Flashbang.
He's tagged.
Oh no.
Good
How
job.
much was he
Yeah,
lit
lucky.
for?
I didn't let him for a lot, sorry. I like just didn't have a good gun.
Here.
Deploying flashbang.
Yeah, they're gonna spy ops,
Two
aren't they?
lower.
Okay, I'm gonna camp A site like a
To your
weirdo.
right side. One right side.
You take this back.
Yeah, you should
Oh
rotate
no,
B.
he peeked me B. Why did he peek B long? What?
Right on them.
They could go.
Watch the B.
They're not gonna know.
I can make some noise for you.
Yo, don't tell me.
No way. No way.
Yo! Let's go, ABP. Let's go.
Alright.
Alrighty then.
That's just really unlucky for them. They're just not having a good time.
They're not having a good
Like, I
time.
don't know what to say.
Yo.
Here, let's go.
Sometimes your opponent's just having a better day than
Honestly, yeah.
flashing lower.
I don't think they're going. Oh, I lied.
Maybe like
Right
defusing.
side.
Like no, there's not defusing. One is along B with an A1S.
I'm actually gonna leave because I don't think they're going to A.
Flashbang out.
On bridge.
Nice.
Yeah, up or down.
One more tagged.
Up here.
One more on bridge.
What?
Said.
Alright, I forgot Maurice can fucking hit me even if I'm above them.
I'm flanking. I'm like on the left rope.
Zaire, did you have a good gun?
And I go, so yes.
Yes, I'll take the Negev. Nice.
Up on
Side
side.
Here I
Yeah.
go. Nice. Good game. games, guys. Yeah, wasn't that a good game? Wasn't that a good game, guys? GG's, wasn't that a good game?
No.
No? What do you mean no?
I apologize.
Alright, I'm gonna have to go first because I got a meeting in a little bit.
Yeah, whaleman, just go ahead.
Alright, I'm here.
I'm the whaleman in game.
Yep.
You're gonna get 2 sets of feedback here. You're gonna get a set of feedback that thinks the map is great, ship it, and you're gonna get a set of feedback that thinks the map is the worst. It's kind of the way that things go. I'm on the I think the map is worst team since I got fucking raffle stomped. But I got some opinions to say. I mostly played CT side, and that's where most of my feedback. I come out here to hold A site, and this is my first angle, which is a terrible angle. This is my second angle I gotta hold. And I also can possibly get pushed up by this ramp. It's a real bad situation to be up here on A site. This is mostly where I played. Either my team wasn't having fun holding this little area here, which you can't blame them, or I felt like I was rotating back through this hallway of death. I would focus on redesigning the site to better have isolated fights. Like if I'm sitting here and I want to fight this guy, I shouldn't have to worry about this ramp or any possible shenanigans coming from lower. If I want to fight this guy, again, I shouldn't have to worry about this ramp, especially because this is a major angle. And I think CTs need a way to get on and off this site that isn't just this ramp. If that means there's like a path here or something, because right now it's just too much shenanigans to hold this site. I couldn't figure out how to successfully do it. Timings are also way too tight for CTs. There's one round where I ended up dancing with a teammate for half a second. And then by the time I came running around this corner to throw my molly, there was 3 of them. The timings are way too tight. Yeah, that's about all my feedback because this is mainly the only thing I did for 16 rounds is fight this one site. Yeah.
Thanks, whaleman. Who would like to go
Alright,
next?
thank you.
Can I go next?
NightGhost, go ahead.
Alright, NightGhost1400 in game.
Yes.
Obviously, I was on the winning team, so I have a good opinion of this map. I like the idea of the layout you have going here. Like, at first I was concerned that it might be unconventional, but I got a feeling for it by the end of it. I think there was quite a few rounds where I would go into B long and CTs were not getting very far forward control of it, because at max you could take this peak and get like a shot off, and then you have to fall back, and then you have to like play in this kind of awkward hallway with the box here. Like, it was pretty easy to take B long. It was pretty much just you flash the angle, you flash like the scout or the opera off, and then you take all the way up here, and then you get a pretty close peak. Like, you can just fire that, pretty much. I pretty much won this fight every single time. And then you get quite a few options to take the site. Though it's not as bad because the rotates are pretty fast for CTs, though I do agree with the whaleman that this is kind of a hallway of death. Even though I felt like CTs did have a lot of other rotate options. Like, there was one awkward round, we had 3 people sitting here, and we were just like, what the fuck is going on? But I think that's pretty much our fault. Like, the second fastest rotate is, like, this player who's going to be playing here, and it's still kind of long, and it doesn't get you much. It's kind of a close angle. You have to clear quite a bit before you can get out. So yeah, I think like adding another rotate option would be great for A to B. I also do kind of agree with what the whaleman said about this angle in particular, but I don't think it's as bad as he's saying, because the timings to get from there is a lot faster than getting here. So you generally don't have to worry about that as much, though the A site does feel a little bit claustrophobic to play around. I feel like it's a bit too small for the amount of angles you have to play against. there were quite a few rounds where I was peeking into CTs who were wide open, trying to hold certain angles and facing the complete wrong way. I think maybe this site in particular has one too many entrances, because right now the map is kind of at like a, like if you look at it from like the mini map, it looks like it's a 4 entrance layout. If a CT can push up far enough to play this control and watch both of these at the same time, but it's not. It's a 5 entrance map, because like at most you're playing this fight, and then like that angle, and then that angle, and then the lower angle, which you can't hold upper and lower of this bridge. Like these, you can't hold both of these at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. And I think this lower fight is really hard to play, especially if you're on site, because A, you cannot isolate this angle at all. You have to like hold both these at the same time, which leaves a guy who has to play under the bridge to hold this angle. But if you're playing under the bridge and somebody peeks here, then you're fucked. So if you want to hold lower, you have to play under bridge. But in order to play under bridge, you either have to like be doomed by that, or you have to play like over here kind of, which even if you're you can only really hold from here, like this box, because if you hold from over here, you can peek, you could like, you have to have good team communication, otherwise you can peek from up here or swung by over here. So like I think this needs to be reworked a little bit, because I think this part gives a little too much power to the terrorists to hold like the entire map. I think this is one of the main problems in terms of map control, in my opinion, because you can peek this shit and then immediately go on to run off and go here to like try to take this side of the map. And if you take this, it's like, it's really bad. It's a really rough time for CTs, because you get a lot of map control from here. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, but I think there are some things that need to be fixed. Thank you. I'm done.
May I ask one question before you go?
Sure, go right ahead.
The place below the window where you said it was kind of can't hold under the bridge because you get shot from the right side. That was what I was trying to incentivize people to hold from. Yeah, like down there where you're standing.
Yeah. Right here.
What would you recommend I do to
Make it stronger.
make this easier to hold? Because that's why I put the crate on the right there, because I used to not be there.
Yeah, angles like this are fine, but they're very much one and dones. Like, you get a kill from here, people are going to call it, and then people are going to watch it, and your next swing is going to be into somebody, and you're probably, like, that's a very hard fight to take if they know you're there and they're holding it. What you would do to fix it, I would probably move this a little more over here, so that way I could kind of like watch it from here without exposing myself to these two angles. Probably would be the better play. It might make this spot area a little clunky, because then like trying to move over here is going to be a little harder. But I think it'd probably be better. Plus, you could still kind of play the exact same angles you could before, and just open up this angle. What else about this area? Yeah, I think that would probably be the play. Or did you add this box here to cut off this sight line? Because I
No, you used to be able to see there, and I moved it to the left because I thought it'd be too easy to hold. But I guess I'll move it back.
Yeah, I think that would probably be best, because that would give that would give 2 safe points of contact. Actually, now that I think about it, like, I remember this fight being a little difficult for us as a team, but I guess you could just flash over and then swing it. I don't know. Maybe it was just us being a little too good at the video game, and then our opponents being tilted at the end. But yeah, I'm gonna be done now.
Thank you.
I'm done now.
Alright, AVP, you have stuff to say.
I'm here.
AVP.
Yo, Chris, you there?
Oh, sorry. I was muted and I did not even realize.
Lamau.
So, hello. I have feedback. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, I think one of the things about this map that's going to be difficult is that a lot of the areas that CTs or like how to explain this. So first of all, I agree with Will, man. I'll just start there with like the timings here just being like so like razor thin. You know that you can just like bump into someone and you probably lose this fight. And I think it's a lot less likely to be a problem on T side simply because you're gonna have everyone here, or at least like a couple of people. Then like on CT side, this is gonna happen, and especially if you ever want anyone playing in this area, like you might be the only one arriving to this site, so it becomes like difficult. Not to mention the site itself is just really open to so many angles like this. This even like there's not like many cubbies at all. Except, I guess this, but like once you're here, you're stuck. You know, like if you peek out anywhere, there's a lot of places you can shot from and a lot of head angles. And so the cover is just very dangerous for CTs, and they don't have a lot of room to maneuver and reposition in a way that can like ever catch a terrorist off guard. It's like unless they throw like utility down or whatever, like they have it. Because like you could like literally usually just like spot someone here, you know, as a T, and if they went and hid, like, you know, Molotov, grenade, do whatever, and eventually they have to come out. Nowhere for them to go. So I feel like there should be somewhere for them to go on the site, you know, it shouldn't be small. Like this. Secondly, as far as like the timings and just like how the way the map works, it's almost like you have like the bomb site like at mid, and then in the other bomb site behind it, which from the start, kind of the idea. Like I just assume the map is meant to be almost like in, like you take it's just like you like take a layout and you like pull it inside out, where like these like extraneous like longer routes or like I'm just describing your map to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think is gonna have. So it has some implications. That's what I'm trying to say, which is that for one, it rewards CT aggression to an extent, because otherwise CTs will not really be able to reliably get control of these areas, because just going to A site and going to this objective immediately is so fast for T's. And as soon as T's, for instance, like take like this area or whatever, they get just like so much map control, you know, just by from like the angles and stuff. It's super easy on this map as a T to like peek somewhere, like pretty low risk, like pre-fire a CT who's just holding an angle here, kill them, and then that terrorist just has to leave. And they have a safe rotate through spawn that's relatively quick, and CTs can't punish. Ever. Like if you watched a demo, I think you're just gonna see a lot of instances where Ts are getting kills and CTs cannot punish. The only time like you saw like trades back and forth most of the time was attacking B site, where like a T like just went like all the way through it, you know, and like we never like switched it up and went to A or anything like that, and we just like hard attacked the site, and then like the CTs were able to rotate and like kind of play the trade game, and usually they like either did okay or lost. I think the rounds we lost on T side were just literally like when we went this way, and like in a way when T's just like hard commit and go either this way or this way or whatever, the map plays more normally, because like CTs have those opportunities to like get an opening pick maybe or trade. And you could like argue too, like you could like go through here and get the pick. But even if I like manage to kill a terrorist here, and I guess I'd have to be like using an off to like effectively like hold the angle like that. And I do know that the timing is actually really fast. You can be like here or whatever by the time a T peaks. Even if you get all this control, it isn't actually worth anything because it's on the extremities. And it's the same here. Like CTs will get can like theoretically get this and this, all the extremities. And you say, yay, B site is covered. But the problem is that T's just have like an instant walk time rotate to A. So it's like CTs are required almost to be split up always on this map. Or they need to always stack and retake. Like that's kind of the implication. Just because getting the map control on the extremities is like not actually that useful. Like there are so many rounds where like I would just go here and get a kill or two on a CT trying to hold like these areas just like to defend B or whatever. And then the response from my team was never to take control of this area. Our response was we would get 2 kills or something like on the extremities. And then we were just like bum rush it and win the site because they didn't have enough players to like properly defend against all of us. So it's just like the game plan is really straightforward, and because CTs like don't really get enough from like taking these areas, which it seems they need to take, that it's like the CTs are almost kind of like set up to lose at the moment. I think it would be one way you could get around this with like this kind of like layout would be if like a lot of the spaces like the combat arenas were different. For instance, if they were much more punishing for T's, you know, if it was way harder for T to peek out like this and instantly get a pick or whatever, or like just get an entry and fall back like in any area on the map, because then it would like actually make it risky for T's to like go for those maneuvers that would give them like the man advantage to easily push a site, for instance. But like otherwise, it's just like really easy to isolate the CTs, cut like just take them out one by one and then storm wherever you want, essentially. It's I think that CTs just need better options for defending, is I guess like the short way to put it, you know. But I hope this like explains I think why we were so successful, and it's just because our strategy was to thin out the CT numbers and then push somewhere.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I think the best response in a way is almost just to like bum rush, you know. Like on our CT side, like we just like rush, you know, like we like kind of we just kind of like either stacked or we rushed on a very short CT side, which I don't know if is a good representation of like how you should even play it. And I do think the enemy team also got extremely unlucky several times. So it was just like a weird playtest in that regard. But yeah, I think just combined with like the ease of T's, like the angles they have to like hold, like I could feasibly see like good players like being able to win these fights, you know, and like they might be like fair fights, but the consequences are not fair. The consequences are so that a CT who was killed in any like these duels on the map is like absolutely, it's just like the whole team is like falling apart. And if a terrorist dies, it's like no big deal, because it's always easy to go find another place and find an unsuspecting CT. You can just rotate through the spawns or the extremities. You can just still go wherever you want. CTs can't get any effective map control that matters, because even if they like push up or whatever, like there are rounds where like they try pushing here even, you know. And the problem is that because we were constantly like shifting and rotating through T spawn, and it's just so open, you could just like pick them off. You know, they couldn't do anything. It was like whatever they tried, it didn't matter. And so what I think you should do is look at the demo, figure out if like I'm right or not, first of all. This is just like impression, but I could be wrong about like why the map was T-sided. See like what the CTs were trying to do. Ask yourself like one. It could be possible they were not playing the map as you intended. It could also be that playing the map as intended would not work, and it would still be T-sided. Or that like it's not obvious how to play the map. Like sometimes you have like a method in which you want people to play your map, and you have to like using just like the map itself convince them, or like get them to play it the way you want. I have to do that like on my maps a lot. Like the first version of Riolu was just absolutely, it was like really bad. But I had like the idea there, and then like I pretty much spent the whole time adjusting the map so people would play it how I wanted. So just
Yeah, I feel that last part.
yeah. So really, what I would do is just if you want to have it so that taking like this control is always like I guess what I'm trying to say is I would prefer it if like CT's making these aggressive plays like this or whatever wasn't so immediately and like easily punishable. Because it just means that like because CT's taking this, T's can go here. And it's very fast for them. Other way around. And if CTs play passive, they're gonna get picked off slowly. And then T's are just gonna go here. So it's like you need to give CTs an avenue to win. Like give them like in the layout of the map a game plan. Where like unless CTs like mess up, they should just by default win every round. Like just make the CT screw up and that's why they lose the round, you know. T's are there to like punish, you know, they're like to be aggressive, but like there's always like a counter to their aggression. And here, there's not really an obvious or effective counter just anywhere, just because how the layout works. I don't think it's like totally like busted, I guess, but I just think you need to like adjust the difficulty at least of like how easy it is for T's to take areas and like take map control. And I think if you just make it like a way more difficult, it'll just feel better. Because even if a CT gets picked off, like at least it won't be happening consistently all the time, every round. You know, it'll feel more focused, and then like both sides will be happier. Because like if you the easier you make it for CTs, like it also works kind of like the fun of being a T comes from like facing that brick wall, in my opinion. And right now it is not a brick wall; it is like a little wood fence where you can just kind of go in between the gaps. That's my feedback. I am sorry I took a while, Peake.
Alright,
Yeah,
thanks
to
anyway.
listen to it.
That was like
I'm just gonna
25
rant
minutes.
for about 10 minutes now because I'm mad.
Others.
Understandable.
This area blows just because it's so open and there's like needless amounts of open angles everywhere. Like, I don't get why this needs to be open. It's just awful angles onto the headshot angle down there. Like, isolating angles, you need to be able to do that as CT. Peeking here, it's people can be there, people can be there, people can be up here, people can be here. Just from peeking the one corner, and then you still have to cross all of those angles to get to the only piece of cover on the site. Like, it doesn't even... And the cover itself doesn't lend itself well to hold these angles, because it's just like, holding here is just so many like pixel angles that you can just be peeked from, and it's just... I didn't even play this site, and I can see just how awful it is to hold. Because what are you supposed to do, like, to hold this area? Like, what positions do you want people to hold these entrances? Because obviously, holding here seems like a nice position, but then because CTs have absolutely nothing to actually hold this corner with, it's just clear this out. Oh, you're dead because you don't have any cover. Or if you're holding from down here, you're dead because you have nowhere to go, because you can be pushed from behind. You can be pushed from all of these angles. Like, holding here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 places T's can come from without you seeing them actually enter like this area. And obviously, that's just if people can't if people can't watch angles because it's just too offensive to them to just watch an angle like this because they can just come from every other place. It's just, why hold it? Because obviously I want to hold this. If I was holding this area as a CT, I'd want to be holding an angle like this because the angle's nice and it makes sense. But then they can peek me from up here if someone isn't watching them cross, or peek me from up here, or peek me from down here. It's 4 different ways to like exit out this area just from the upper. Like, you can jump down, you can go to the site, you can go through here. It's way too much going on in this such an open area. Like, even just cutting this off will just make CT so much better. Cutting this off, like, pushing here is already dangerous because it's here and here, but then you have to worry about this, and then you have to worry about people hiding under this bridge and people coming from the other side of the map that can just see your hold or rush from the other side of the map. And areas like this, I just think what a CT is supposed to do for this area. Like, I'm holding here. Holding here has been okay the whole time, but it's like peeking into this hallway's kind of just always sucked. Because, especially now, because pushing this area is worthless. Because, obviously, there's going to be T's playing on these awful headshot boxes, or just playing up here on 1 second rotate to A main, just from holding, that can hold a weird angle up here that you just can't like try to kill against, because obviously someone killing up here, someone can just be camping in this corner and then peek you. Like, it's useless to push here as a CT because it doesn't get you any control. And a lot of the time I was holding this area, then someone like Wild or someone else would just come and take this position from me. So I had to go all the way back and then not know where to go because it's just impossible to tell what to hold from, like, after the initial fights have happened, because how interconnected it is. Like, just from this area, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, this is a whole area because of how open it is, and just there's like 7 entrances just to this huge open area that aren't isolated at all. And it's so interconnected. As like, just past this first choke point as T, you can flank. You can just flank here instantly, or you can flank here, or come out here, and it just wrap around any point that the CTs have. It's like, I was holding B long one. I call this area B long, even though there's basically 2 B long areas. But I was holding here. Something happened on the other side of the map, or Quan was over this side of the map. So I was like, oh, I could just rotate to A through the B site. And people were already here on the site because, like, it's, unless you're, I don't know what you're planning to do if you're trying to hold this area, because all of it is just angels that T's can just win because they're going to push you out of an area. Because CT's falling back, all they have to, like, they can't do anything but fall back all the way. Because what are you going to do holding this, like, any of these angles, apart from just try and get a kill if you don't fall back and lose even more map control? Because once you've been pushed off this area, you've just lost, like, 90% of map control. Because it's so connected to everywhere else. Like, it connects to the B site, it connects to this lower area that also connects to A within a second. And it overlooks every A entrance. It's just... Or you could just hold down here and hold the entrance into CT. I know you can probably, like, crouch or something to get past it, but it's just something that you just shouldn't have to do to rotate between sites. Especially when it's just... It's a quick rotate, but it doesn't matter because you're just pushing against a death hallway where people can peek out from anywhere or be holding any angle on site, or just holding from something like back here to prevent you from defusing. It's like, what do you want a CT to do? And obviously, as I've said, pushing through here, it's just, there's like, for T's, there's no good reason to have this so close to the A entrance. Like, you shouldn't just be able to get an instant rotate to another entrance from like a second and a half away from a main entrance. Like, it also just basically makes CTs just impossible to push. As I've said, it's just impossible to fight up there. But, like, so you have to just hold deep because obviously the angles into this area just blow for CTs. Because what you're going to do when ABP, who's popping off, is holding a headshot angle like this and you can't do anything. Or, like, trying to hold this, it's just an awkward angle to hold. And then obviously people peeking through, they can just easily molly you out because molly against this wall, that corner's gone. So push through, and then they're going to be either hiding behind the pillar or hide behind this box, and you can kill them then because you can just flood them out. Or hold this area and just hope that someone can obviously get like a trade with a shotgun, but it's just not worth it for CT to just lose a player. We were losing a player at the start of the round every round because someone was pushing through like a dumbass or just holding an angle that's just impossible for CTs to hold. And obviously, if it's happening nearly every round, it's CTs being forced into literally throwing the game because the positions that they were trying to hold before sucked, so they move on to another position. They suck, so they die. It's just an infinite loop of CTs not having anything viable to hold against extremely strong T angles. I would also say that some people played a lot better than I predicted, and some people played a lot worse than I predicted. But even with the teams feeling like they were stacked, we should have won that game on MM scores alone. It's like it should have been the team who got 16-3'd or whatever. They should have won, but it's just so T-sided and other players playing not like they should. It's just made the map feel awful because obviously I want to hold this area with like an AWP, but like where do I hold this angle? This? People can peek, like drop down and peek from here. Like there's no angle that you viably can hold as a CT. You have to hold from back here. So obviously it's close angles where Ts can just make your body evaporate because they're so close. They can like get to you within a second of anywhere in this area and then cut you off because obviously backing up leads into the site and then you've just given them 2 entrances into the site while you've got cover that you can't really rotate between because of height and the amount of entrances that Ts can come from. And honestly, I just think that like half of the angles just need to be closed up because if you want to keep the current structure as it is, angles just have to be closed up because without these angles being closed up, it's just going to be a clusterfuck for CTs to try and hold anything because obviously trying to play on site, you've got the 2 entrances here. If like everything was blocked off, they'd be quite hard to push as T. But with the current CT positions, they're just able to be flanked from nearly every angle. Like the only place you can't really be flanked from is just holding this area and just hearing people push behind you. But it's just kind of none of the CT positions are viable to keep map control. Like, unless it's like T's peeking one by one, and you're just better than the other players, T should win every round just by pushing an area as a team because CTs can't physically do anything. Like, once you got control of this area, CTs aren't going to be aggressive towards you because they're just going to be most of the time stood out in the open trying to face an angle where T's can peek you from other angles. It's just you can't counter any T strategy just because all the positions are like, oh, they're pushing A. What am I going to do? Push through this area? No, because you can't. So rushing into this and trying to get control before they get to the site, no, it's impossible because trying to hold this area, you have to hold here or you've lost the site because you can't hold these areas. So you have to hold deep, far away from the quick rotate. So it's like still quite a long rotate if you actually have to go through here. And by that time, they've already got control of A and triple stacked whatever type of nade all the way up to here. And then you have to wait and then push through a death hallway into angles that can just be abused onto like any part of the map. Like only valid CT rotate back onto A really that can be viably countered. Can't be like CT rotates to A. You're not gonna go through this area. You're gonna try and go through this area, but going through this area is like T's can be just hidden anywhere, so you don't want to go down there. So it's really only here that you can really have a basic idea of what you want to do, and where you can be killed from, and where T's can be, because they're only going to be in front of you. But obviously, that's to your disadvantage as well, because they can just be hiding behind a box, peek out, and what you're going to do, stun this alone. And if they're not peeking out, you can peek into here where it's this corner, or just hiding behind the cover. So it's kind of just like so many angles into areas that just shouldn't exist, because it just creates huge open areas. Like, even cutting this off would just make this area so much easier to hold, because you can't be flanked so easily. Although it would probably make this area play worse for CTs as well, because you can't like rotate between positions. But not having everything so interconnected as well will just help, because what you get from just pushing this one choke point is height advantage pushing into B, flank route pushing into B, another angle into pushing to A, and it's just you get way too much for just pushing one choke point that CTs can't hold anyway. Like, maybe taking pot shots with an AWP, you'll get a kill, but then you're just getting pushed back, so they either the T's shouldn't allow you to repeak any of these angles, because they're so clear and obvious where you're going to push. So obviously, if you've taken one shot here from an AWP, T's should be able to like just play an off angle or just hold the angle and shouldn't let you win, because it's just aim battles, and in aim battles you shouldn't be allowed to repeak with an AWP or any weapon really, because it's so predictable in this case where you're going to come from. So obviously, if you miss a shot here, you're going to have to fall back, and then T's can rush up on you, jump down here, jump down here. It's like so connected to each other that like the map control CTs have is instantly lost if the T's just push. Like, it's not even if the T's like outbrain you in any way. It's just if the T's push, you've lost. So like, I don't really know how else to explain it, to be honest. It's just this area is huge and open and has so many angles into it and so many ways of peeking everywhere, and CT angles can be easily like just flanked. You know, I don't think the structure of the map works right now with all this area in general. It just doesn't work because of how other parts of it work as well. Like, in itself, the angles on this area kind of just blow for CTs and probably blow for Ts, but has he just gone?
He got put into the AFK chat.
That's an L.
I wonder why.
That's probably because I've been ranting for 10 hours.
Specifically 15 minutes.
He might not realize.
I don't think he has.
I think he's like taking notes physically and like not touching his PC.
I don't know why he would. I've been recording the past hour and 25 minutes. I'm gonna post this on my fucking channel after this. There he is.
Oh, sorry, I was listening. I just
I pulled it back in. I'm just kind of ranting, to be honest. It's like,
yes, you are.
I'm just mad that we did so awfully and felt like the map was against us. So I just felt like 15 rounds of just CT. I can imagine if the other team was put to that, they wouldn't feel as joyous as they were. But I feel like just ranting anymore is just gonna make feedback worse, because I'm just kind of crying about everything right now.
Yo, Peake.
What?
I've been waiting to go for 10 minutes. Can I, like, go again, please?
You want to go again?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Hey, Josh. So
Good
instead of
evening.
so instead of hearing somebody say the exact same thing for 10 minutes, I'm gonna actually like try to give you advice of what I think could be positive changes. First of all, I think that this area, if you're not planning on removing it already, could really benefit for T's not getting it for free. I would recommend instead of making the entrance here, you push it all the way up to like here or something. That way, if for example, if a T would want to like actually peek that shit, they would either have to take the fight and win it to get it, or they had to like smoke off the fucking angle and waste a piece of utility. As well as like making this area like stronger, obviously, for like you have to make this area stronger for that to work in the first place. One way to do that would probably be to like honestly cut this off, so that way, like it takes a lot. That way, CT could comfortably play here, without like having to worry. Like you have to make like this angle way stronger than it is right now, while also giving it a good fallback option. That would already like buff it a lot, because then Opper peeks here, Opper takes the shot. If the Opper misses, like sure they lose that angle. Like they already have that this version. Now they could fall back to here and they could play like this, which they can't before. Or like playing it like this, or like putting up a box up here, they could play it up here. Or like play it back here. And that way, what happens is, guys playing here, oh, they've lost that. They could go here, but also now, if I hear footsteps, I can be the guy to peek here. And since they have to deal with me here, if they have to take that fight, that opens up the Opper to potentially take a shot, or like to bounce a nade off of it, like that, to try to like push them back and make them fall back, so that it's a lot harder. Because right now, Opper has to peek this every single time. Otherwise, if they fall back to like this, they're essentially giving them A site control and a flank route for free. Because, like, as stated, pushing here is extremely strong, because you just get an angle for free, and then a route to A and a flank route to B. So probably either cutting this off or potentially making like something that's like, I don't know, like buff this angle, close this wall off, and then make it so that if they absolutely want to take this, to like take this like new route, they have to expend a smoke, and if they expend a smoke, they only get one route, or they have to win the fight. And if they do manage to kill that guy, they only get that route for free. They don't get this whole area for free, because now they have to contest with this guy who can now play this angle a lot easier. Probably not as easy as before. You probably have to change a few bits of cover around, because peeking it like this, you're still slightly exposed. So moving this wall a little bit around, and now they have to either expend another smoke, and if they expend that smoke, now they don't just get a flank route. They only get the B upper route instead, and that gives plenty of time. You know, that guy can call it out, and once he calls it out, guy on the other side of the map, okay, I know what I'm doing. I can now kind of rotate to watch only the upper route, because this route, I know that route's clear. That would probably, in my opinion, play a lot better, just in general, because either this Opper, peek, fall back to this route, and now all that happens is that this guy has to deal with one more angle, and the side guy has to deal with one more angle. That would also, if you have good comms as well, that would take this route a lot longer to get to, and open it up so that this guy can now wait for the comm of, oh, they have that option, and then he can fall back. Now, this entire area over here that I have to worry about before, like pushing up under here, is a lot easier now, because then you can just hear the comm, oh, they have the route, and you can like switch it up to focusing on that. I think that like changes, makes it infinitely easier for a CT to hold the area in general, and like sets up a few more defensive areas of like where CTs can hold and defend before, where instead, like before, it's obviously just, oh, I win the fight, and now this guy is extremely disadvantaged. I can win this fight, And now that I won that fight, 3 or 4 new routes opened up to me, and like it's just an extremely hard defense to hold. The big thing for me is what to do with the B long area, because the B long area right now is really, in my opinion, the biggest problem with the map. Because like holding from here, like as I'm gonna reiterate, like the best you can get is like 1 peek, 1 kill, and you're gone. That's the best you can do. Like at first I was trying to think of some things you could do, like for instance, adding like a ramp. Like one idea I had was like having a ramp here that would be the height of the window that a CT would be able to peek into the window for, and then like it wouldn't, like a T could not jump onto the ramp, but a CT could jump from the ramp to the window. So like that way, like you get into here, and then you could go up the ramp, take the fight in here. Potentially the ramp is covered from the main. So CT, he could push up, he could get a ramp angle here, and then he could go up into the thing, peek into the upper A main, and he could clear that, he could hold that, or even jump into the window, and then be able to hold that area. That's just an idea. It might not work, but it could give CTs an incentive onto pushing this area, and because then you would get more map control. That's an idea. Whether or not it would work, I don't know, but it's just an idea that I would have. But like obviously pushing the area is important, and I think removing some cover and giving like more cover for a CT who wants to push, like be incentivized. I also think that like pushing T spawns back a little bit, which is probably already on your agenda, would help with that too, because then instead of just the timings being CT peaks, T peaks, it would be more like CT peaks. He could probably get behind this pillar, then a T peaks, like that. It would also make the spawn timings for getting up here a bit more lenient as well. I agree with Peake on the cover changes that I think need to be made to A. So I think that's all I'm going to say, and I think I'm done on that end.
Alright, thanks,
Alright,
NightGhost.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm just gonna touch on timings a bit, and I've noticed that I didn't put 2 and 2 together for these about them. It's kind of just that none of the timings really feel too intuitive to me in terms of like where players want to be and stuff. Like you want CTs to be like getting to choke points or getting to a strong, be able to be getting to a strong position like 2 or 3 seconds before T's, and also have an option to be aggressive but not easily punished within that time. Like pushing to A Palace on Mirage, it's kind of like have to be quick to get up there, get a peek, and then it's like you're not incredibly easily punished. Like you can just peek into Palace and could be one guy still out in the open, you could fall back out again. But like here, it's just if you want to push this area, it's you have to contend against this, and like people can like at this timing where people can be in comparison to where they CTs really want to be able to get to beforehand. Because like if you're peeking here and T's are peeking here, look how little aggression you can have just from these timings. Like if you're getting here while T's are poking out of the choke point already, it's kind of just like that just gives another way of giving T's more map control, because you can't really push past anywhere. Like even down here, it's like this is quite far into an area, but obviously I want to be able to be peeking this area down here as a CT before any of like these angles can catch me. If I want to be like, even just isolating these angles would just be helpful. Just because peeking here, it's a CT, a T can be up here just looking down into you and stuff like that. It's just like like 1 choke point, 2 choke points. I don't really know which area to call this part of a choke point, because it's kind of just an open area that's kind of just easy, not timings make it just weirdly contestable. I don't know, but I want the fights to be like isolated between the choke points, because right here it's 3 T entrances that they can get out of. Obviously timings are different to all of these, so it's not like triple peak the 3 entrances, but I want to be able to have this fight without ever having to worry about someone pushing up from another angle. So obviously, in a regular map with a regular layout, it's like a choke point that's in front of you, and unless someone dies to a weird angle, just dies in general, you don't have to worry about getting flanked. But like, the way it is depending on how someone's holding, you can just be flanked from like 3 different angles. It's not like, these aren't really choke points, they're just entrances into the same area that's just one big choke point for CTs to like try and hold. It's like just a battle arena type thing, rather than a battle arena that's just stacked against CTs, rather than like choke point design. So obviously, if this was closed off, this was closed off, this would make sense as a choke point and like something you would fight for and be like a regular fight. But right now, it's just, you peek this and there's all of this going on, and there's also all of these angles going on. It's just so much. Even just like making sense for CTs and Ts, just having fights that like make sense to like normal players. Like, I've played this map a couple times now. I get kind of how it works. I never want to go here just because of how it's structured in this area, because it's always been open. It's always just been not my skill set to get the one taps across a massive open area. But just peeking areas and having like fights into only one area would be obviously a better way of playing this map. But like right now, it's just so many areas interconnecting that like the small areas that like interconnect just kind of make the isolated fights that you should really have as a CT just impossible. I know it's kind of just repeating, but I'm trying to like get my point across better. Like, this would be cool as a choke point. This would be cool as a choke point if they weren't connected in angles in any way. Obviously, I'm not just saying put a wall here, but how it works is it would play better with a wall here, but that it shouldn't just be a fix to just wall up all of your open areas to make one choke point play better, because like this feels like a regular place you would push as a T. And like all of these angles like kind of make sense from a CT holding an area, and I just don't think like the way the areas are set up are intuitive in a choke point way. Like, this area, you like come to here, this is a choke, you peek here. Without knowing that the site's up here, you just peek an angle, you'd assume that the site's like over by this. Because like this is where a lot of the cover is that you're peeking. But then, oh no, actually CTs can't actually hold this area, so they're going to be somewhere else, and all you can do is just run up here. And that's obviously if CTs aren't peeking this, but they should easily just be traded out by people playing up here, because that's how it worked. And so obviously just having a entrance here makes sense to how it plays and how it like looks. So obviously it's designed so you can just like snake around and come up. Like, how it looks to a player is just, oh, there's something up there. Like, it isn't intuitive that that's an actual place CTs can be from just first running around. Like, you peek here, oh, I must be pushing to the site into this way. And this could be like a little connector into the other site, but it's a huge open area that looks like a site that's just an open area that can just be not really played for by CTs, but kind of just, yeah. I think I'm gonna stop just because I am giving myself a brain aneurysm.
Yeah,
So
I've got more than enough written down already.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for just ranting. I just
I'm pretty
kind
sure
of
I heard the
tilted.
word open area 15 times.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of open area. Yeah, I'm just gonna pop off because I need to cry in the corner for a bit. So see you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you again. Bye.
Jesus
Any
Josh,
else? Anyone else?
Christ.
Josh,
Oh
would you
my
mind
god.
if I like literally just like because I just had some ideas
Oh, sure.
about like what I would do to this map,
Yes,
which like might be
if you had the VMF and this was your submission, what would you do?
okay. I would cry first.
Oh,
Second, I'm gonna screen share this. Hopefully no one sends me any like weird DMs. So I'm gonna go like do not disturb. Okay, this doesn't look
all right.
super recognizable, but this is your map. I've drawn it MS Paint, and I'll open it up here too. So first of all, you know how you have the bridge to A? This like the settings
Yeah.
are really cool. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Then you just reroute it. So you know how you have like this whole area for T's here that they just
Yes.
give for free? No, it's all gone. Instead, have it so that T's have to come out here and they have to like fight CTs or whatever, and then like this bridge angles, and then it goes to this area. Which I think it was even like similarly like that at one point, and I think it should have stayed like that. You just don't need this area IMO. And then like this is just very like I did this very quickly, so it's not great.
Pretty cringe, not gonna
So
lie.
you have like all this like spaghetti here that I don't think you need. Like an example would just be like Nuke, you know? Like Nuke has like a bunch of lobbies everywhere. I've talked about this once, but it's just like the reason it has so many big open rooms and like lobbies and stuff is because if it didn't, it would have to like be all spaghetti like this. So basically just consolidate some of this, you know, like you don't actually need like a separate route here to here. Like I kind of feel like you're afraid. You're like putting things in the map that like in reality I kind of feel like the player should be controlling. Like if you don't want T's to be able to go like hee hee hoo hoo or and like just rotate quickly in between like upper here and this, that should be like a player's job maybe. But also my design, you'll notice that like I actually just have like the back route completely cut out. So like my suggestion is literally like instead of just having a back area at all here, like this is how you get up here. And now you're up here. You know, there's no back way. You have to like commit to like going up here. And CTs can fight the angle or whatever. And it also means that it becomes a place where like if CTs are trying to retake, like they can like molly it out a little better than that.
Yeah.
Or like utility it out, and like T's can actually be like countered a bit because like they're like, oh no, I am in the corner, I am stuck.
I have to use the smoke.
Yeah, instead of like just going, okay, BRB. Let me just reposition real quick. I mean, it'll just take a bit. Admittedly.
It does take quite a bit. I think you're just wrong.
Shut up. Anyway. I also think that like maybe you don't actually need A site to be here. Like it might make more sense if A site were like in this area
What
and
Peake
then
said.
like rotated like is there not kind of not just like
You want to put it at an angle?
yeah, I want to put it at an angle. Apparently it's just not a thing in paint. I don't know what this becomes. It's just a fighting place for CTs.
It's a fight club.
Yeah, it's just Fight Club. And then like what you would do is like don't have this connected just T's anymore. Have it so T's first have to enter. Like imagine this is like the path for T's. T's have to like enter like this lobby or whatever, like as nuke or something, and then like go out here. So at the very least, there's the opportunity for maybe a CT to take control of this area and they can get some map control. Like there's so much stuff in this map that it's just like directly like connected to T spawn right now
I like that idea a
that like
lot.
that CT's like if they wanted to cut off like any of these T routes, they would just literally have to be in T spawn. Like, where do CTs push in response to T aggression somewhere on the map? Like, they can't. There's nowhere to push. They're just kind of boned. Like, I think Peake's right in saying that like all of the cover is just also like really awful for CTs, but that just like compounds the problem. I think this would still be even if the cover was like really good for CTs. Unless CTs just had some majorly unfair fights or whatever, this would still be T-sided even if like all the fights were equal, just because like of the layout. So I don't know. I would just like simplify it a lot, consolidate your areas, and make it so that T's have to like don't be afraid to make T's fight for things. Like maybe you weren't intending to just give T so many things for free, and like you were just wanting to have like fights that are different. Like I want to have a fight that's like here, sightline, or like here I'm different from other maps. But unfortunately, it doesn't work. Which it would be kind of cool if it did, but it doesn't. So you kind of have to like have like the choke points like really hard and like defined, and the only way you can like get away with like having choke points are like very loose, or if like how do I explain this? Or if so on Nuke, for instance, Nuke is a map where a CT and like Overpass too, I would say. It's a map where CT can get a pick on a T and it's like really valuable. However, once they get that pick, if they want to not be traded, they need to like fall off, right? And so they whittle down the amount of terrorists on the map compared to CTs, but they lose map control because they're slowly running out of utility. They're slowly falling back to like better angles, and like gradually giving up the T rotates. So it would be like this the first interaction if I just draw like a line of sight or whatever. Let's say like a CT gets like a pick, like here, and it kills a man. Um,
He's dead.
yeah, he's dead now. And the CT like in some maps like that are maps that are actually I should have done this on long. That would have made more sense. Let's say the CT gets pick. Is dead. CT now has to fall back because otherwise you're gonna have a bunch of T's like swarming on the location, right? But the thing is, and like that's like the trade-off, right? It's like the CT like saves his life, but like now he doesn't have access to this area. The problem is T's don't even need access to this area at all because like they never need to like fight for it in the first place. Like literally at any point they could just go from spawn and probably take control of this area like at any point in the round. So it doesn't even matter for a CT to be here. And so like if the CTs like don't have like the opportunity to like take meaningful map control, then like what do they do? They got nothing. Like you can't like rotate easily. And you really need to like something you should probably try to figure out is like get some faster rotates in for CTs, but just make it so that CTs are like potentially putting themselves at like risk for using them, and that they need to use like team like combat information to know that something is a safe rotate. Like on Nuke, there's like some really fast rotates you can make as a CT, but like if you don't know like what's going on the map, if you don't have like an imagine in your head where the T's most likely are, then you can get caught out early easily. But like I don't know, I guess I think that like it's cool what you try to do with like the idea where like you have like this very fast sight. It's like mid and then like B in the back where you go around. But in some ways, I think it makes it too obvious how to play it for T's. Like I think you could argue with a game as simple as Counter Strike is that it's almost like chess, and that you could like train a computer to like crack the code on a map, and like train the computer to just have like 100% win rate on the map using particular strat. Like on any map in CS:GO official right now, there's probably some like strat that will like give you the edge and win you like overall the game every time. However, the reason that doesn't happen, like there's definitely metas on maps. The reason it doesn't like happen is one, because computers haven't done that, but two, if they did, it would not be obvious how to do that, and it would probably not be something that humans would be able to easily replicate. On this map, it's just like really obvious for T's what to do and not obvious to CTs how to play it. You know, it's like it's almost like the meta is like too obvious. Like T's are just gonna like get all this free map control, get picks, and then they either like go B, which really they shouldn't do, in my opinion. Like I feel like if you have the option, you should always just go A that's fast, and like this is the only good rotate, and then you just pick off all the flankers. And a B, you're like way more likely to die because CTs can actually like hide in corners, and they have this height or whatever if you go B. Yes, like the idea behind these changes are literally just to like consolidate areas and make it so T's have to work more. So like you don't need like any of this space, you know, and then like T's just have to go across here. Like, this is a bridge. You can still have it so they come out under, you know. Then maybe that like does something else, you know. Like maybe even like you make an under route that's like slower but safer. You know, like you can have it so like this route is the fastest way to get somewhere, but the most dangerous. And then you also give T's the option that you have like a route that's like sneaky
Yeah,
beaky.
you
Can I
definitely
post
get another.
something in the chat?
You go. Yeah, that's like basic level design, I guess, but like the map just by nature being so weird right now, like it just almost doesn't have it.
Can I show you something
And
real quick?
go
Yeah,
ahead,
where?
CS:GO level testing chat. This was an
okay.
older radar, and
Yeah.
the back house and then the bottom right are like the sort of not as well developed parts. But there's a connector from the left side to the middle, and then there's that thing the NightGhost was talking about where there's a room that goes from the right side to the middle. And also the
Yeah.
window was kind of blocked off. But this was also very negatively received.
So what I would
I
say
think
about
the
this
reason why it
is
was negatively received is because there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, there was, and I did like cut down as much as I
I think you
could.
cut down a lot, but I think you cut it down in the wrong areas. Is probably what the problem was.
yeah, like I honestly think that like you could just have this like structurally, but like the way you cut out the map, like my ghost is saying, is just like it like even if it looks the same, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You know. And I think stuff you need to do is just like on this version of that, for instance, like you just don't need to have like so many corridors and
Yeah,
hallways.
like you
You
can
could
kind of
almost
see.
always in this situation, like either just not have a route somewhere, like you don't need it, like here, you probably don't need it. Or you just like have like a room or like a more open area. And in fact, you have it here, but it's like any area that isn't like a bomb site or a spawn, like it's like a bomb site, like middle, I guess, spawn, and then you have long, and then all your connectors are just very much connectors. You know, they're not like areas. They're like I go to point A to point B, and I am a hallway, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you just that's all you have here, and because of that, they're like it's like you're trying to make gameplay out of hallways and
Yeah.
like struggling because you can't do that. It's like, why can't I make these hallways interesting? It's because they're hallways.
Yeah.
That's the tragic part about it,
Yeah, like what
you
you've
know.
done on the right side is like you've taken two hallways and try to make it into an area, but
I mean,
because they don't, they're just like points to fight. that lead to more hallways that just kind of lead to the bomb site.
Look
'Cause,
how
like,
many lines of like travel I can draw just in this one area. And then like at the end of the day, like these connect to like only a few different places. Like I could just like take this. God, I should just done this in paint on net, frankly. Yeah, imagine this isn't here, and I could just like go like you need like a path, like an arena that like allows this to be like the path, you know, and not like all this. Like, you don't need all this. So you got all these wrinkles. You don't need it. You could do all of this in a space that would only have like maybe like this much going on, you know. So I'd actually do this a lot. I take my radars as if I draw out stuff on them, because sometimes something will be very difficult to figure out like in Hammer, but then like you look at it and above you, and it just becomes a little more obvious like how you should do it. Um, if you can like spot the problems. Like in fact, I think this area is just like already like so much better.
yeah,
Like this area succeeds more
this previous
from
version is
this.
definitely way better than the
Like
new
what this
version.
like. I mean, just look at this. This is so much cleaner. This is just you have a fork here. Players will easily understand this. Um, you have a route to mid here. I don't think you need a T connection still. I
Yeah,
think you
that's
could
a little.
easily just like at least have it so that like you have to get there from like you know that CTs can maybe contest or not. At the very least, whatever you do, you need to make sure that a lot of the areas in your map, like CTs, can actually like contest in some form. But I mean, at least like a routing wise, this is so much better. Like even if it's like a little like hallway, like it's not. It's like it's going to a similar amount of places, like one, two, three, and then this is going like. I just want to see how many places you could potentially go, pretty much. So yeah, this is like if starting like at this bomb site, it's like one, two. Here's a window.
It still goes to
Three.
one. The window still goes
Yeah.
to one.
Well, it does go to one. Yeah. Okay, so actually, like this only really goes to two places. Although I guess there's two entrances. There is here.
And if you follow
I don't know.
two, it technically also goes to one.
Yeah, two technically. I mean, you could go through here, but
Yeah.
two would technically go to one. But notice like here is it's just like nice, you know. And here it's like not.
The corruption
And
is
then like
spreading.
interestingly too, like the T side of the map like doesn't isn't even like this. Like on T side and even like on this radar or whatever. Like let me just like undo like everything I did. It's not gonna let me. It's too back too far.
Yes.
Like, on T side, just go here, go here, go here, go here. CT side is like this is probably like the simplest route along with like this. And then this left side area again is like you know, notice how like the CT routes, like first of all, the CT routes are much shorter. Like this is just like the CT like controlled area of the map. This is like I can just draw like a blue line or whatever. This is what CTs control. Like notice how little this is compared to like
Yeah, generally T's tend to get less map control at the start of rounds.
yeah. Unless you're
Overpass?
well that's true and that isn't true. Well, with overpass, what I would say is that
No,
T's
even like
fight for the control of the start,
yeah, they have
and
to fight for
CTs give it up.
control. Like if
Like
you like
Overpass has like those.
if you don't
Um,
win like the fight connector or like the fountain fight or like the sewers fight, you get so little control. Like hold on, let me I want to kind of stream this too. Overpass it.
Like have you ever like lost almost like all of your teammates on T side and Overpass, and you realize you have no chance.
Yeah,
And it's like even worse than other maps. You know, it's like you just can't do anything.
yeah.
But, I don't know. Sorry if I kind of feel like I'm explaining like um I'm trying to just explain this as clear as I can.
Yeah.
So sorry if I'm like
Like if you look at how Overpass is like structured, like in general, like imagine like you lose the fountain fight, you can't and the connector fight, and like like you can't get any fight. Like if you just look at how short the area in general is, it is like a fourth of the map that you have control over at the start of the round. Like you get control of like a whole ass fourth of the map, as composed to CTTs who have like 3/4 of the map control, and then Ts have to fight their way to get any sort of control. Like they have to take a duel and win, as opposed to which is like the other way around on this map definitely.
Over the past few
just
months,
drawing here. This is by diagnosis. Like for this version of the map, I straight up don't think you need like. I mean,
Or like even
so like
Mirage.
yeah. Oh my god, I'm tilting. Microsoft, please. I don't think you need like most like on this version of the map like most is. I don't think you need this either. Maybe I don't know. Maybe. I mean, but it's like you could literally have it so that this part of the map here, which already has like a connection here, becomes almost like a side mid or like an alt mid, or like you can push to B from it, or you can like feign activity and like go over here. And it's like I don't know, maybe like the CT should like get way more control like on the I don't know. I feel like you've just made this hard for yourself. I feel like this layout's like so weird that just doing basic things is difficult to like kind of figure out. And I do that too. I do that to myself all the time. I make like weird layouts and then I like realize I'm just making it like comically difficult for myself for no
Yeah.
reason. But I'm just like very good in those scenarios. I'm not very good at like I could make a very boring four square map, but I just like I don't want to. I would not be
Yeah.
very passionate about it. And I prefer to suffer when I make maps.
Suffering is
So,
the key to making good maps.
so yeah, I mean, just do what you want, but just I would just like look at it like overall and just literally look at like all the areas and stuff and think about like how this is contributing to the overall flow of the map. And, like mostly just ask yourself, how do you want CTs to win the map, and how do you want Ts to win the map, like round per round? Because like it's just here, just I just don't know what plan CTs would have, because you can't take like just following the rules of the game, which is like get frags, get map control, hold angles. Like the angles are crap for CTs. Getting map control doesn't work for CTs because just this of this. Like really, your only option is like winning fights and like whittling down all the T numbers, and then all of like the angles though are like so T favored that's hard too. So it's just totally stacked against CTs. Like maybe like you could have it so that like all the angles are like really good for CTs or whatever, but like if they die, you lose like a lot of map control. That's kind of how Nuke is like, like if a CT like honestly, I feel like it's
Like
like
you
way
kill like
better.
the heaven player and you just get like pretty much get A site for free.
Yeah, like you'll have a player, you get a site, or you kill someone like Garage or whatever,
And then you could just go
and like
sprint secret.
yeah, you sprint secret if you have the smokes.
If you have the
and all that
skills, yeah.
stuff.
Otherwise, you have to
And then
kill the
like
mini player.
yeah, and then it's just like that. Like it matters more. It kind of felt like on T side, like I was getting a lot of kills, and like a lot of it was just because nobody could trade me, and like nobody was putting up any resistance, and I was like fragging against some like pretty decent players.
Yeah,
And it just
you're
felt like
you're killing
I
Whitehall and
was
shit.
yeah, but it felt like I was like fighting like a wet blanket or like a Lego fort or something. Or like or even better, like connects.
It's like you were
Like
fighting
you
a
have like
house of cards. You flick one piece, everything crashes down.
yeah, everything is over. It's like CT's no more options, you know. And it's like the small Doge versus the buff Doge.
Yeah,
I don't know. I love memes, bro.
bro,
I'm a
such a
big memer.
memer. I'm a big memer, bro.
Dude, this is yeah. I think like you could even just like keep the layout similar to it is, but if you just make every single gunfight like better for CTs, the map will feel better. I think it'll still be T-sided,
But it'll be
but at
better.
least like they'll have a chance. It won't be like you peek this corner here, and then there's like five different
TVs.
potential ops holding you or
Yeah.
whatever. From like no, literally, you could have like a scenario where like the bomb is planted like right here. The T's have like one person here and one person lower, one person on the bridge, one person here, and then one person on the ramp, all with AWPs or auto snipers, holding down this angle, and this is the only reliable rotate that you have. Like, and I can imagine that happening. Like, yes, if it's a 5v1, you're probably screwed. But like, this is especially like egregious. It's like what do you do? I don't know. I'm kind of glad we started on T side. I still
Yeah,
think we would have done a lot better than Peak thought.
yeah, I agree too.
I think that we would have had a score like it would have been like
Well, I think it would have been a lot.
6-9 or 4-11, and then we would have won our T side.
Yeah, because here's the thing,
But
right? The reason why they did so poorly is because the first 3 rounds, they didn't realize how bad the fucking timings were. Like literally, first round, we took A site for free because the motherfucker like did not like he was stuck on like the A rotate hall, and like he was just there. We got A site for free. We did not have to kill a soul. Second round, we went the right path. Nobody was there as well. We took that for free. We got a free B plant. Third round, they rushed the bridge, so they just lost 3 rounds immediately because like they rushed the bridge and they died. So like in the fourth round, they didn't even have enough to buy, so like they couldn't win that either. Like like if we had just like played the timing, shut the fuck up, AVP, you motherfucker.
it's right here.
It's
It's
the
here all along.
it's the Mogan.
It's just a problem.
The
Your map is
Mogan.
sus, bro.
Yeah,
This
like
whole area is sus.
we like honestly
He's an imposter.
we might have been able to, because like they did not like I was keeping a mental track of like the fucking timings, and they did not understand the timings at all. Like Peak did not know you could like peek be long and like attempt to get a pick. Like he did not know
Yeah.
that at
Yeah.
all.
He
He just
didn't
sat in
like-
this little cover. Like the timings, like I checked it on our first CT round. I peeked this, and then like 2 milliseconds later, Peak came out, and I missed the shot. But still, like there
To
was a
be
chance
fair,
you could have still gotten a.
I was
pick.
hoping people would see the stripes on the ground, but I guess not.
I only noticed it
to be
after the
fair-
game ended.
to be fair, there were rounds where they eventually started pushing here, and then I killed them all.
Okay.
I literally just stood in T spawn and I killed all of them, and they never did it again.
Yeah.
So
Also, I have to leave at 2 p.m., so any final thoughts
Final thoughts?
before I do surgery number 27?
The middle area is just a lot of angles for both sides. It's just lots of angles. You need to like section it up somehow without like physically sectioning it up or something.
Yeah. Make a lot of better options for.
just do what I
CTs
said. I
to
fixed the map. Just go here.
Yeah.
Just go here.
I think.
No more bridge.
I think.
Get rid of connector. You don't need any of this. Make
at-
sus like not the imposter.
Your old ideas
And
for
then you're good.
your old version of B long was better, I think. Like in some regards, with like CTs pushing up and some angles,
Yeah.
and the amount of angles that a CT would have to deal with. Push the spawns back. I think my suggestion, if you keep the right side of the map, I think my suggestion was pretty good. Making the angles stronger, probably making the only A rotate faster, and giving the A another rotate onto A site, so that you don't have to do the corridor of death, as well as not having to do the corridor of death the other way around to B site. And yeah, Peake talk for 45 fucking minutes. All right.
Well, thank you
There's
all.
nothing.
I will
choosing-
also be I also record the entire thing from my POV as well as this feedback session. So
Oh my god, Night Ghost
and I will
playtest.
I will be posting it on YouTube later of my name. So if you just want to rewatch the feedback session, you can find it there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Good luck with your map.
Thank you.
I'll be heading out.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
I can't stream into this.